We're back on the show, and heavyweight action will be featured on the pay-per-view main card as Alistair Overeem looks to bounce back after his loss to Stipe Miocic last September. He will be taking on the 42-year-old Mark Hunt, and the big discrepancy is the 8-inch reach advantage that Alistair Overeem will have. This is a rematch from Dream 5. And I've got to say, there's obviously a lot of issues going on with Mark Hunt and the UFC at the moment, and maybe that's the reason for it. But I've got to say, fight week, Cody, this fight is not getting any attention. Absent from the Countdown show, if you blinked, you would have missed Mark Hunt's one appearance on Embedded. I'm surprised that they're not putting more attention on this fight. It's to me, one of the fights that if you are a casual observer, this might be the fight that has your most interest on this card.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. People love the heavyweights first and foremost, but also when you're looking at a card that doesn't have a Ronda Rousey or Conor McGregor on it, you load those cards up, and in many ways, this is a loaded card, but only the top two fights are really garnering that attention. So I think no matter what, you're going to get a good fight out of Hunt versus Overeem. It should probably have gotten a little more publicity, but if people are fight fans, they know this fight's on the card, and if they know this fight's on the card, they're going to want to watch it.
All right, these two guys know what's going down on Saturday night. John Ramdeen and Robin Black reporting in Las Vegas.
A very cool fight at the heavyweight limit. Two former K1 champions collide. Alistair Overeem taking on Mark Hunt. And I think if you look at things objectively, it feels that Alistair Overeem has the bigger toolbox. He's had more types of fights where he's been able to showcase his submission skills, his grappling abilities, in addition to his stand-up game. Mark Hunt, the way that we understand that he's going to win fights, move your feet, look to land combinations, and eventually the power punches to the head of Alistair Overeem.
Yeah, and there's a real subtlety the way he sets up that power. This is a killer fight, man. Like, I'm getting more and more excited for this card. This fight is one of those ones you feel it right down in your Overeems. You know what I mean? And it's a classic matchup. They fought before, but they're both quite different. Yeah. But if Overeem thinks it'll be easy to get a hold of Hunt and drag him to the ground, I think he's going to find that a lot harder than he thinks.
Do you believe that Alistair Overeem has to play the patience game? He doesn't go right at Mark Hunt, try to set up traps. I know it's going to be very difficult because Mark Hunt has the same background as Alistair Overeem, so it's going to be very difficult to trap this guy or to trick him. How important is it that Alistair Overeem is patient?
Yeah, he's got to be, for sure. You know, we're in Vegas, right? And you see these guys who play these sleight of hand games, and you and I are like, oh my God, it's my card. But when they try to do it to each other, it doesn't work. They know what they're doing. That's exactly the dynamic here between Hunt and Overeem. You're not going to trick them with any old school obvious tricks. You've got to slowly set them up, read them, and really feel this fight. They both have to. I would be shocked if it goes the distance, but they could both be very smart and play on the outside a little bit, but I can't wait to see this one.
Do you believe that Overeem will try to entice Mark Hunt to make him believe that this is going to be a stand-up battle, and then flip the script and either put him up against the cage and try to exhaust him using that clinch game, yeah, or try to take the fight down to the ground?
Yeah, the clinch game would be a great idea. I mean, it's going to be hard to take Hunt down. We've seen it, people have had a hard time getting a hold of his hips. He moves his hips really well. He's super agile for a big guy. Yeah. He really is. But putting him on the fence and trying to fatigue him is a good idea. And Overeem really likes going to the body. And when a guy's got a big body, we saw that with Derek Lewis when Travis Brown was kicking him a week or two ago in the body. You see what that does. Might see a lot of attacks on the body from Overeem. But it's a real cool one. It's obvious in the sense that two guys are going to try to drill each other, but the subtleties, that's what makes this one so beautiful.
Do you think the Alistair Overeem has more options? When I think about how this fight may play out, Alistair Overeem, patient, attack from distance. If Mark Hunt gets inside, use his grappling, push him up against the cage. You would imagine that Mark Hunt can disengage, but Overeem, would his objective be beat this guy's legs up, smash his body, exhaust him before you go for the knockout?
Yeah, that concept of beat somebody up, start low, go to the middle, and beat them up. And that is a strategy you can see Overeem use for sure. This fight could go any of a ton of ways. That's why it is so exciting. But I would be shocked to see it end up as, a close decision. Somebody's going to have somebody figured out by late in the second round, and you're going to see some real violence.
If we see an impressive victory by Alistair Overeem or Mark Hunt, I would not be surprised to see one of these guys challenge for a UFC heavyweight championship sometime in the future.
Thanks, guys, and don't forget to go download the MMA Report. This week, I'm chatting with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson about his rematch with Tyron Woodley. As well, Cody Saftik is going to be chatting with me some more about the return of George St. Pierre fighting Michael Bisping. Download it at FightNetwork.com, iTunes, or you can watch it at YouTube.com/FightNetwork.
Coming up, Rashad Evans makes his long-awaited middleweight debut against Olympic judoka Daniel Kelly. And groovy Lando returns to the octagon, fresh off Robin Black's knockout of the year over John McDessie.
Spin